ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। So we have been discussing the second chapter, Chaturtha of Kathopanishad, which started with Paranchikyani Vedranat Swayambhu Tasmat Paran Pasyadina Antaratman Kaschidera Pratyagatmanam Ikshat Avrita Chakshu Amrudattamichan. After having explained the example of the chariot and Atmanam Ridinam Vidhi, that Atma is the rider of the Sharira, and Sharira compared to the chariot with intellect, the charioteer, the mind, the reins, and the sense organs as the horses, and the destination is Tat Paramam Padam. That ultimate abode is the destination for this. Having explained that, what are the impediments or how things are working for us in our day-to-day life is being starting with this saying that when the creation took place, the sense organs were placed in the body, looking it outwards, it can only sense material or objects and feel senses externally, not inward. Kaschid Dhiraha, one courageous person, Amrudatvam Ichan, for the desire of the immortality, what is beyond death, or the world, where can I be immortal? Pratyagatmanam Aishat, he saw his own Atma, Avrita Chakshu, by turning his vision inward or searching within his own very reality within himself. Now, having said that, it also comes, the Yama Deva is also mentioned that Swapnandam Jagaridandam Chau Ubau Yena Anupashyati Mahandam Vibhumatmanam Matva Dhiro Nashotati. The one who is able to see what is the inside of dream, what is inside of our experiences of the waking, and seeing Chau Ubau, the one who sees both of them with the same attitude. Yena Anupashyanti, that Anupashyanti is the importance, that there is no difference between what is the experience point of view, the dream and the waking. And there he can see that the creator of the waking and the creator of the dream are not two separate. The Swaprakasha Atma, the one self-illumining nature of our own nature, Mahandam Vibhum Atmanam, that Mahandam, that limitless and Vibhu is all encompassing. Atmanam, Mattva, having understood or known what is, that is the reality of my own self. Dhiro no shochati, the Dhira who started looking Pratyagatmanam, he understood what is it, and then he is no more in any more sorrow or any humanly afflicted pains and pleasures. So having said that, we stopped the mantra on the 9th mantra in the last class, which is Yatascha uteti suryaha astam yatra cha gacchati tam deva sarve arpitaha tad u natyeti kaschana etad vaitad. What it says that Sarve Devaha Arpitaha, all the Devas are based on that tam. That means every aspect of speciality or the Dhyotana Devaha, the very presence is an expression of awareness. So Sarve Deva, it is not, we are talking about gods and, all the Puranic people who are being measured as devas in that. Here the deva means Dyotana Deva. Everything is expressing its own itself in the form of awareness. So it is Arpidatam, that is based on that. What? That Mahandam Vibhu. Is itself is in everything, Sarve. Sarve means in everything. That is the one which is shining as the awareness and existing. The very purpose that we feel that something is existing is because it is emitting awareness and its own existence. And then it is, as a simile, he is saying, Surya Udedi Chatatra Astam Nakachana. It is like the sun which is shining. The moment sun shines, we know the sun has shone. Nobody has to tell us the sun has risen or the sun Suryodayam has happened. Astam na kaschana. There is no sunset in the case of awareness. In the case of the Sarve Devaha Arpitaha, when it happens is that once the knowledge or the awareness happens, there is no way of that which is going back from that awareness. This is that what I have been telling. And what you have been asking me, what is the third mantra boon you wanted that. Now we'll go to the next mantra, which is Yadeva Yadevehe Tadamutra Yadamutra Tadanviha Mrityosav Mrityumapnoti Ya Iha Naneva Pashyati. Now what happens once we know the awareness? That is being explained in this mantra and the next mantra. Yad tad yad iha, that which is here, eva amutra, is the same which is there everywhere. Tad yad amutra, that which is amutra means were there outside. Anu iha, it is alone, here alone, it is the same. What does it, the two statements are indicating us is that vibhutvam of the Atma or the sarva gadatvam or the omnipresence, yad iha, what you think is you or we as individuals inside and our own awareness, it is the same awareness which is there everywhere, amutra, and other side also. And what is there outside as awareness, as objects, or the substratum of the objects in which awareness, the presence in the which we see as the multiplicity, that is itself is the same thing which is in our own reality also. So the reality point of view, our reality and the world outside reality are not two separate things. It is one and the same. So what is he saying? Ya nana iva pashyati. One who finds the difference, that he thinks that I am separate, the world is created separate, I am not part of the world. And therefore he has all the thoughts of, for me, my selfishness and that likes, dislikes, wants, all those type of feeling comes from when you have the otherness in the world outside. So the one who sees, ya iha nana eva pashyati, one who sees that multiplicity here as separate from himself, saha mrityoho mrityumapnoti. He has no other choice but go through the cycle of birth and death again, because for him, he is associated with the body, and the body is the one which has to go through the birth and death again there, because he is considering his body as separate and others' body as separate. And the body, even though apparently is having separate names and forms, the very material which it is being made, if we take in today's scientific method also, after all, it's all bone, flesh and blood and everything. And it is the same form of experiences of the sense organs. So why are we making the difference of that human beings to human beings? Forget about human beings, every object. So the multiplicity which we are bringing is because of the name and form. But here when the mantra says that Yada eva iha tadatra amutra means there is no difference between what is you are made of and the world is made of. This differentiation one who makes will have no choice but to go through the cycle of birth and death again. And in the same tone, he comes to the next statement. Manasaiva vedam aptavyam neha nanasti kinjana mrityusa mrityum gacchati ya iha naneva pashyati. Manasa eva idam aptavyam na iha nana asti kinjana. So that the question can come to anybody. You are saying there is no difference between that multiplicity which you are seeing is all, after all, everything is the same. My sense organs are not giving me that experience. I am seeing everything as separate with a separate name and form, and the separatedness or the multiplicity is a reality for my experience. So how do you say that multiplicity is not there? What is here is there, outside there. What is there outside is also here. When you say that, how do I know about it? So Yamadeva says, Manasa eva idam aptavyam. You can only know this through your purity of your mind. Your mind, only when it is prepared to understand the reality of the apparent diversity of the world, is only in the superficial layer, like the waves of the ocean, which may appear to be multiple waves at the same time washing on the shores. The ocean is only one and the same all the time. Even when they became the ocean and became apparently the waves is not separate entity from the ocean. It is the same ocean which appears as waves. And one wave and another wave, there is no difference. It is the same ocean which becomes the same. Same is the case with the multiplicity which is being experienced in this. Either you take wave and the ocean, or if you take the space and the contained space within the house and the body, or the school, office, etc. The space is not divided by that, but by bringing the apparent limitations which is brought into the space, we call they are all separate. But in reality, how do we know that? Manasa eva. Only you can have it as an experience. That feeling should be in our mind, that oneness which we are seeing in the apparent. How did we know that the same wave, it is the same ocean which is in the form of waves? We knew it only through our mind. We did not become the waves, but we knew that the ocean is the one which is appearing as the waves. Same mind is the one which we can know that there is no multiplicity in the world outside. After all, everything is in Satchit, Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam, Brahma. That is the knowledge or the consciousness and awareness which is exhibited by everything, whether it is a rock, whether it is an animal, a tree, sun, moon, star, space, you and me, all of them are butting at existence and awareness. It is the existence awareness which is the basic building block of everything. That has to be understood by the mind. Manasa eva aptavya. Then he goes to the next level where either if you are not able to understand it by the mind, it is very highly not possible that everybody can accept it by the mind and understand, have a imaginary feeling or the understanding through the mind is possible. Then he brings in examples of meditation methods in which you can do that. Angushta matra purusha madhya atmani tishtati ishanam bhuta bhavyasya na tado vijugupsade edaidvai tatat. Angushta matra. Matra, ma means measure. Tra is a tral pratyaya for Sanskrit, for in that it is for limiting. That matra means measure. Angushta means the thumb. Angushta matra. Purushaha. Madhye Atmani tishtati. That Purusha, Atmani Madhye tishtati, is residing in the Atman. Here the Atman is not the Atma. Here is Atma means the self, the individuality. That Purusha is residing in the Atma, in the self, in the size of a thumb. Now, this is actually speaking, it is not physically he is mentioning about it. It's highly philosophical in nature. If you look at the importance of a person who is residing in a house, it decides what type of a house is. If a king is residing, we say palace, the entire size of the palace can be so big. But the size of the 6 feet man who is inside, when we call him, he is called a 6 feet man residing in the palace, but he is not just the man residing in the palace. He is the king of the whole nation or the whole Rajya he is controlling. So, can we say 6 feet Matra Purusha is controller of the whole Rajya? That simile has to be brought in when we say Angushta Matra Purusha Madhye Atmani Tishtati. That the portion of which we can say that Angushta, thumb. Now, what is the importance of a thumb? Only people who have lost the thumb will know the importance of a thumb in the hand. If you don't have the thumb, 90% of your jobs are obstructed by doing it. That is the importance of the thumb for the hand. So when we say Angushta Matra Purusha means the very presence of such an important aspect in our body, in our self-individuality is Madhye Tishtati. Now here in the Shankara Bhashya, the examples he is using is that our physical heart is to be taken as the Madhya Purusha. Why it is that type of portion is taken? That is also the place where prana apana, when it takes when we take breath and when we breathe out, which is the signal of what we are alive, that is also happening at that same, the chest, bosom area. And it is the heart also is that. So that is supposed to be the Madhyavarti Purusha, or the middle of it. Now, having explained this, what is the second line says? Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyassa. He is the controller. Isha, the word Isha is not Ishvara. The word Isha has the meaning is controller. Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya. Past and future is controlled by that Madhya, that the Purusha who is sitting inside the body as the person who is sitting inside the body and controlling future and past, knowing whom, tato na vijugupsade, then there is no more anxiety for the person who realizes this person inside with. Now, why do Yama give such an example of Angushtamatra Purusha, who is the controller of Bhuta Bhavya? Because this is the where you have to start your control of your mind. Where does our Bhuta and Bhavya reside? It is in our mind. It is the memory and the expectation or the imagination of the future, what will happen. The future cannot be imagined without the memories of the past. Only with the reference of the memory of the past, we create what can be expected out of future. Our expectation or the dreams of the future has 100% memories of the past with which we expect things to happen. And when something comes other than that, that is a surprise to us, or we accept it or we may reject it. That's a different aspect altogether. But the one who controls what as a memory and what is going to be projected as a future expectations, both are controlled by that aspect, Ishana, which is nothing but your mind. So, Manasa Edam Aptavyam, when he is saying that, that mind is the heart, which is the controller of your memory as well as the projection for the future. The one, so when you control that, when you know that it is the mind, you may not initially, when we say Manase Vedam Aptavyam, we are not in a position to understand that whatever thing is, everything is by, that mind should understand that. Now when we are doing this example, that Bhuta and Bhavya, we are controlling almost 66% of our experiences. What is Bhutam and Bhavya is in the 66%. What is left is today or now. Now in the next sloka, he is addressing that also. So from this point of view, the mind is the control of your future and the past, which is that mind. That mind is the one which should be used for understanding Manase Vedamaptavyam Nena Nahasti Kinchana, that there is no separate everything, because everything is in the mind in the form of memory or expectation. In the next sloka, what does he say? Again, Angushta Matra Purusha, Jyotiriti Avadumakaha. Dumakaha means smoke. Avadumakaha, Adumakaha, Iva Adumakaha. Jyoti Iva Adumakaha. A fire without smoke. Today we can say a bulb or a electrical lighting is something which we can think of without smoke. But we should understand this is the period of the Vedas. So there the light is always associated with smoke only, because they were using oil lamps or wooden things to burn. So without smoke, they could never imagine a light existing it. This Angushtamatra Purusha, which has been referred in the previous sloka, is the one which is the Andarjyoti. And the Andarjyoti is not creating any doma inside, because it is ever shining. That awareness which is within our bosom is never away from us. And it has never been switched off or not gone, even when we are not knowing it in our deep sleep. It is there as awareness. That is why when we wake up, we say that we had a good sleep, I knew nothing. That knowing nothingness is also in the awareness. And he there, without the smoke, as the Andarjyoti or Atmajyoti inside, Ishana Bhuta Bhavyasya Sa Evadya Sa U Shwaha. Now that controller of past and present, past and future, Sa Eva Adyaha. That indeed, that Purusha indeed is today. Adya means Purusha. Sa U Shwaha. That indeed is tomorrow also. So man's past and future, he already told. Today and tomorrow also it is that one. That means the time which we think as whatever may be our capacity to think about the time, it is that means limitless time in which our memories are there, we are expectations of the future, and even what we are doing today, everything is controlled by memory. The name which we call, the forms we identify, the transactions which we do, everything is from the using of the memory, what has been accumulated as our names and forms. And what we are thinking about tomorrow is also based on what these names and forms which you had. But so when you say that controller of these things, then it is from the physicality, it is going to the time level, time scale. And in the Ishana Bhutavabhyasya, when he is controller of the time for the past and the future, and he is today and tomorrow also, he is Ananta, he becomes infinite. and it is Jyoti, Andar Jyoti, like Adhumaka, without any smoke which can cover that. Never, I can say I never existed. That is not a statement which anybody can ever make, because that awareness that I am is always, that is why it is Adhumaka Jyoti. Without the smoke, that awareness, it has never been clouded. I was there, but my experiences can change. But even while the experiences change, the awareness that I am, who is experiencing has, that I am has always been there. So therefore, edat vaitad. And that is the one which you have been asking me, whether after the death, well, that there something remaining, or is the end of death everything? In the third boon question when he was asking. So this is edat vaitad. Now he is telling about the two examples of one thing is Yada utakam durge vrishtam parvateshu vidavati evam dharman prutak pashyam tada prutak pashyam stano evanu anudavati parvateshu dharman prutak pashyan stha eva anudavati. Now, dharman, the qualities, prutak pashyan, separate, seen as separate, anudavati, rushes, evam, like this, tan eva, they alone are true, yada udagam durge prishtam, like the water when it falls on a mountain top, Parvateshu vidadati, gushes from the mountain to the down. That is the way in which the one who sees Jiva, definitely that experiences. We are bombarded with experiences, like how the rain drops are falling on the mountain top. Our momentary experiences are like the water drops which are falling on the mountain top. And then they are all rushing down through the sense organs of action as well as senses of sense organs and action organs of action. This is all what is called the gushing of experience. Either we are experiencing in objects outside, or we are interacting with the world outside. But all these things, if you look at it, it is all momentary awareness which is happening. Everything is an awareness. Each droplet you consider as a momentary experience. And when these momentary experiences continuously flow, we call it as a life. And then what happens? It gushes when it is interacting with that, either with the sense organs of perception or sense organs of action. What we are doing is only having the experience. And that is what is the continuity of life, Jivatma. And from where, and that one which is controlling, the Ishana, Madhye Tishtati, he is not getting affected by any of those things which has happened. The experiences are lit by him. In his awareness, every experience comes and goes, and then they rush outside. This is what is the example is given, and then in the final verse, what he says, Yada udagam shuddhe shuddham astikam tad tadrik eva bhavati evam muner vijanataha atma bhavati gautama. Just as yada shuddha udagam, pure water, shuddhe eva asiktam. When some quantity of pure water mixed with another pure quantity of water, tadrik eva bhavati, both becomes one. That oneness in that apparently two separate limited body or limited water when mixed together, they become one. This is exactly the process of our experience. When he says that what we are experiencing is the awareness which is within ourselves is merging with the awareness of the object outside, and together they merge together to become the total awareness of the experience, which we call it as experience. There is no two separate awareness. The object also is in the form of awareness and existence and awareness. We, each individual, is also existence awareness. When the awareness of my or the individual existence awareness is mixed with the existence awareness of the object, which is also the same thing, there is no two separate things to when they merge together. That is why the experience becomes oneness. So this is what exactly in the another Upanishad when they say that Pratibodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vandate. One who knows that every moment that experience, Pratibodha viditam, bodham bodham prati. Every moment where our experience is only telling us that our nature of experience is the exact experience what we are having from the world of objects outside. There is no two separate, neha nanasti kinchana. There is no separatedness between this. It is our awareness, and the word object is also in the form of awareness. It is the awareness mixing with awareness. When the mixing happens, we feel that I am separate and the object is separate. We treat that yatra iha nana eva pashyati ta mrityum apnoti. The one who sees that who doesn't see the reality of awareness is the awareness meeting. He sees the separatedness. For him, the death, the cycle of birth and death happens again and again. Gautama, Nachiketa. Gautama is the great grandfather of Nachiketas. Nachiketa's father is Vajasravas. Vajasravas' father is Vajasravas. And Vajasravas' father is Gautama. So he is talking about the lineage. Gautama means, Nachiketa. Evam muner vijanataha atma bhavati. The one Muni, Mananath Muni, the one who does these two, Manasa Vedam Aptavyam, one who does with this knowledge understands in his bosom, becomes his experience, Atma Bhavati. He becomes not the body anymore. He understands his real nature. Sa Atma Bhavati. Atmavid Atmaiva Bhavati. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Same way, the understanding of knowing that reality, that it is the awareness which is happening all the time. It is we are all floating in awareness. There is no separate we when the awareness is taken. The objects, our souls, our existence, the name, the ego, anything and everything is in awareness. That ocean of awareness, Chit Akasha, that sky of awareness is what is the reality, and there is no two separateness here. The separateness, one who sees it, he is not seeing the truth, he is seeing the multitude. And for such a person, because he is accepting the multitude as reality, for him the multitude becomes the reality, so he comes back again and again, birth and birth. Even though there is no birth again and again, because in the one of the earlier mantra says, "Na jayate na mriyate va katachit." There is no birth and death for that Atma. But one who do not see that reality of the Atma and identifies that I am the physical body will come and go. That is that birth and death is for the body. And one who doesn't identify himself with the Atma, for him, there is no other way. Nanya Panda Vidyate Ayanaya. There is another statement from another Upanishad. There is no other way for this other than this. He Gautama Atma Bhavati. Sa Mune Atma Bhavati Vijanata. This is how the mantra ends here. This is the last mantra of this Valli. We'll stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्